Welcome back. We are your Colorado real estate family, and today we're going to be talking about 5 big mistakes that people make when moving to Denver, Colorado.
All right, let's go.
If you're new to our channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're interested in moving to Colorado, Denver, or any of the surrounding cities, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell below, because we're the people that you need to know.
Yeah, guys, and along those lines, if you are moving to Denver or Colorado, give us a call. Licensed real estate agent here, helping you out with all your real estate needs. We love helping you out, so we're going to throw that phone number in below, right there. Go ahead and give us a ring.
Okay, so the number one mistake that we see people make is their expectations that they build while they're visiting here on vacation. So let's give an example of that. Like, why do people visit here in Colorado?
Well, I mean, so then, like, mainly the mountains, of course. Everyone comes here for skiing, snowboarding. And also, what a lot of people don't think about is people visit our mountains, too, for the summer stuff they could do in the mountains. They have this great time. It's amazing. They have this good vibe for Colorado or in Denver. And then the expectations kind of go when they decide to come here.
Yeah, so they're not prepared for the fact that it's snowing up there, that they have to shovel, that they have to drive in that snow at an incline. They're not prepared for the altitude and actually physically moving here over time. I mean, really, it's just this whole Colorado is so beautiful. And so when you come here on vacation and you have none of the stressors of a job or anything like that, it can kind of get jaded when you come here to actually create this for your life. So say, going downtown, people will visit here to come to our city. So they'll go and they'll walk 16th Street Mall. They'll go shopping. They'll go to restaurants.
Or say even if it's a festival, right? So say you come down here for Denver's having this amazing festival downtown, and then you walk downtown when it's not a festival after the fact, you're like, this isn't as great as I thought it might be. Denver's not an all-time party, right? And so.
Right. And so the traffic, maybe they're not prepared for the traffic. They're like, yeah, I want to be close to all those things that I went to in downtown Denver. But then they're like, oh my gosh, like the traffic, the noise, the light rail, like all the things that could be kind of noisy in the city, they weren't really prepared for that. So just not creating your expectations. Are you watching the squirrel?
Yeah, looks like he's gonna attack.
We already had a squirrel encounter today. Oh, okay.
All right, the second mistake that we see some people make is they oftentimes choose the wrong area. They're there for like a couple months or even up to a year, and like, you know what, I really don't like being in the city, or you know what, I don't like being this far from the city. And that's why we try and educate you as much as possible in all these videos. And when we're talking to you via Zoom call, phone calls, we're like, hey, guess what? We want to make sure we look in this area as much as possible, make sure it fits your lifestyle, your family, whatever situation you're in. That way you're not making that mistake the first time.
Yeah, just like Peter said, one of the most important questions that we ask on the phone, especially in the discovery stage with me, is what does your life look like? What do you want it to look like? Like maybe the reason you're moving here is because your life doesn't look the way that you want it, and that's totally fine. So what do you want it to look like? And if that means, hey, I want to be able to go and like take a hike with my kids in the afternoon and it not be like this big, weekend extravaganza. Like I just want to be able to go do that. Well, then we need to get you 20 minutes to the mountain range so that you can actually do that, So, or maybe you're like, hey, we really want walkability. And so we're like, okay, well, we can get walkability in a lot of different areas. So let's be more specific about that, because some people will just say, oh, walkability, you need to be in the city. Well, no, that's not true at all, right? So then we got to dig deeper, because there's a lot of different areas for walkability. So just that whole idea of, if you think that you want walkability, it doesn't have to be in the city. If you think that you want to go, maybe, rock climbing or hiking or biking, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be in the foothills. There are other trails and things around the areas that are hilly and can still meet your needs. So,
well, and the Denver Metro's big, guys, and so it's like you don't have to be downtown or stay away from downtown if you don't really want the downtown lifestyle. There's a ton of great suburbs that are outside, like you got Central Park out there, you got Midtown, so you got all these different areas that you can go and still be in Denver. So this is something to really keep in mind. Don't think of downtown Denver as what Denver is, right? There's so many different areas to go.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, because we're oftentimes recording in downtown Denver. It's obviously like a big thing. That's what people.
We got the Rocky Stadium.
Yeah, the Rocky Stadium.
We're like, this is so cool, and then we got
it's probably like this big on the screen.
Yeah, and everyone's
how
like,
big is it?
Show us with your fingers. It's just like this size, this size.
It's really big out here, I promise. But
I don't know how they're gonna show us with their fingers. You're watching us, we're not watching. Forget that.
Anyways, so the other thing too is, Denver is doing a really good job in its suburb area trying to bring that walkability to outside of just the city itself. So like the downtown city, I should say. And so we are seeing a lot of really cool makeovers in these suburbs that are giving the same walkability without the huge city effect. And so again, finding the right place is not necessarily like just the big name that you're looking for in each state. It can be what the lifestyle looks like that you really can bring you quality. So
all right, the third mistake that we oftentimes see some buyers make when they're moving into Colorado is the climate. And what are we talking about with the climate? So we're talking about both temperatures in the wintertime, summertime, also how dry it is here, guys. Like I said, we talk about this all the time. Bring your lotion, bring that chapstick, and bring that chapstick, right?
Right.
Bring the chapstick. Like seriously, I've got like chapstick in my car. I got one in my coat pocket. I got my regular pocket. So there's chapstick like everywhere. Just prepare for that climate. In the wintertime, listen, if you're coming from a sunshine state where where it's all the time 60 or above, you're gonna need to buy some winter clothes. On the other spectrum, don't come here dressed like an Eskimo, okay? Because the wintertime, oftentimes it gets up to like 40 degrees and you're out in just like a t-shirt and jeans, and so always be prepared. Make sure that you have multiple layers because there's so many times where it's super cold in the morning and then it's warm in the afternoon. So layer up and make sure that you're prepared for this climate because it changes like this, and then it's not always the extremes that people always mention.
Yeah, so this isn't really on climate, but just a quick little mention. If you haven't visited here before, also consider altitude. People don't think about altitude, so maybe you should come here and at least while we're looking at houses or things like that, just see how you tolerate the altitude if you're not used to that. That's another mistake we see is people coming here and being like, oh my gosh, I'm really sick from the altitude sickness. So just not being aware of that. Okay, so let's jump into the fourth mistake that people make when moving to Colorado or Denver. So this I don't think is specific to Denver necessarily, but a lot of times our clients or people will judge it too quickly. So when you're moving into a new state, like, you're making new friends, you're trying to find, kind of where you fit in, like whether we're adults or kids, like it is across the board, a brand new situation, lifestyle, all of that. So say you come here now in the fall or almost, I'm like wishing for fall. If you haven't gone check out our like what's it like to move here in the fall video, go check it out because we just posted that like a week or so ago. So go check that out. But if you're moving here and you're about to get into the winter time, but yet maybe you don't ski or snowboard or anything like that, and you're like, gosh, it's really hard to make friends. Stick around. Like give yourself a good year.
Give some good time to marinate, right?
Yes.
Settle in, be open-minded because you might find some friends that you didn't know that you could have, or maybe you'll be open to activities that you never did before. Yeah,
and then also come springtime, so winter doesn't last that long. So when springtime comes around in all of your favorite activities, you're gonna find your clique like that because there are meetup groups, there are
5K galore. It's like 5K here, 5K here. You're like, which 5K do I do? I don't know. Do I do a fun 5K? Do I do a serious 5K? And so there's all kinds
bubble things, all this stuff. And then also if there is maybe you're a big biker or something like that, you won't be able to explore any of those things until you get into the season for that. So just stick around because overall, Coloradans are very, very friendly. We have a ton of things to get involved in. It's just you got to kind of give it some time to actually like settle in, not only to your job, but also to friendships and kind of just what creates that great quality of life.
All right, cool.
Okay.
On to number 5. And this is one that I wanted to throw in there. So make sure you have the right vehicle. And actually, we've had some clients who they came prepared. They're like, guess what? We bought our Subaru. So kudos to you guys if you guys are watching this video right now. But guys, you got to make sure you have the right vehicle. So if you're coming here with like a freaking Mustang that's 5.0 rear-wheel drive with some slicks on it, you're probably gonna want to change that one out.
You still got the 5.0? What does that mean? Is that a yes or no? I don't understand the pose. Yeah? Let's go.
We're at least driving in the summertime.
Well, okay, so that's one extreme. The other extreme is people are like, man, I'm gonna buy this 4-wheel beast, gets 10 miles to the gallon, and then summertime comes and you're like spending a shit ton of money on gas. Try and go in between that. That's why Subarus are so popular here, is because they're somewhat, gas friendly at the same time. They're all-wheel drive, so you can have best of both worlds. Make sure you get something that's a little universal that has, good gas mileage, and at the same time, you can get around in the wintertime.
Yeah, and so there's nothing worse than like getting this like awesome truck and you're like going up and you're like heavy and you're doing fine in the wind and you're doing fine and you're passing everybody up in the mountains and then a Subaru is right next to you and you're like oh man, I mean it's just a really good thoughtful car for here. You'll see it everywhere, like Subaru's like Colorado, right? But that doesn't mean you have to drive a Subaru, okay? I've got a great mama car.
Yeah, we're not Subaru family at all.
We're not trying. I
got a Jeep and I just never the Subaru thing. I just don't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is good though for Colorado. But the point is going in the middle. So like I have a mama car. I get like 26 miles to the gallon, which isn't bad, but it still fits my family and all the things. And it's still like like not too like momish. Like I was trying not to go full minivan. No offense to any of you minivanners out there.
Hey, there's some minivans
I've
out
heard
there
they're
that
very
kick ass in the snow. I'm not gonna lie.
I do.
Like the touring edition, you know, the ones that got the screens like in all 3 rows.
Well, I'm also jealous of the doors because every time my kids get out of the door, I'm like, everybody stop! Don't open your door! How close are we to the people next? And like minivans, like whew, they like swing it open. So I'm not making fun of minivan moms. I just wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready. And so I end up having like a mid-grade car, and it does great. It does great in the snow, and it does great in the summer. So that's the point. Is like be prepared to get the right car for here. You can't do one or the other because we don't. It's
just
changes.
try like stay right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. Just something that's
Right down the middle.
economical at the same time, still good in the snow.
Yes,
So.
this is an important one. I'm really glad you added this one in.
Yep.
He's like, let's talk cars. I was like, what? All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for sticking around this long. If there's certain topics that you want us to cover, please let us know. We do these videos for you guys.
All right, and until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye.